Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Bauman and this is my putting it all together for our final project. My current philosophy of teaching is I believe my goal as a teacher is to provide my students with a safe and inclusive learning environment that allows for connections with myself as a teacher, with their peers, to the content being taught, and to real-world situations. After this course, and more specifically for online teaching, I would like to add that use of technology is for an enhancement tool and accessible content for all students and families. SEL Online. Through this course, I've learned about the core competencies for SEL and how important they are to provide that, whether teaching in person or online. Open communication with students and families is vital for growth and success in your classroom. I believe the online collaborative tools are so important. As we learned about in this course, collaboration among peers is very important for students and their growth socially. I would like to start SEL at the beginning of the year and then continue it throughout. And I believe positive reinforcement can have amazing benefits with your students. Synchronous versus asynchronous. I believe it's important to meet the needs of your students. For synchronous teaching, I've seen the pros of constant and immediate feedback. There's relationship building and open communication that can take place during synchronous teaching. Asynchronous allows flexibility and adaptability, for your students and families that are learning at home. And going along with that, it meets the individual needs of the students. So for example, they have the freedom to complete the work at the best time suitable for them. So for example, when we had to go online last year with my kindergartners, a lot of them were at daycare or a type of preschool during the workday. And then they couldn't complete their work until later at night when their parents were at home to help them complete that work. So although some of my work might be independent for them at the ages of 5 and 6, it's not very likely. So the asynchronous teaching allowed for my families and my students to be flexible and use the best time that suited them, whether that be first thing in the morning when the students woke up and the parents were available, or later at night after dinner when the parents are home from work. So currently I am not teaching online, and I haven't been since the pandemic started in March 2020. I only taught online for the end of that 2019 to 2020 school year. So although I might not be applying a lot of the tools that I learned in the class just yet, I do see a lot of the benefits from using online tools even with my students in class. So I do plan on working on creating more accessible content for all my students and families, adding captions to my videos, putting text with the pictures, and using the accessible PDF documents that I have been working on creating since our last module. I plan on using embedded videos. I see the benefits of that and making sure that students don't have to leave a certain site to go watch the video. Learning that tool was very helpful for me, and I've already started using that in my class. I plan to refer to the teaching standards for online instruction, even if I'm not teaching strictly online for my students. When using online materials, I can still see how the standards are important to include. And then I thought it was really interesting how, we learned from one of our readings that prior knowledge for online teaching was very important for a teacher to succeed. And I believe that after this class, although I know I still have a bunch to learn and, learning never stops, I feel that I have a good amount of knowledge to kind of help me in the right direction of online teaching now. If that happens again, or if I had to switch grade levels and I'm working with a age group that would allow for more independence online, I feel like I have a lot of knowledge and resources that I can grab from and use after this course. So some of my ahas include I believe, and I will always believe, that SEL is at the core for your students, no matter the age group. I think that online instruction is possible for any grade level, but I don't necessarily think it's recommended. Although I learned about some amazing tools and great benefits of online teaching and the flexibility, and how some teachers loved it and saw the benefits of it, I still am a strong believer that in-person instruction is the best form for students of young ages. Like I said, I work with 5 and 6-year-olds, and those students are capable of a lot and are capable of a lot more than people think. But when it comes down to it, they're very limited when they are given an iPad and they have to independently work by themselves. I've also seen a lot of students come back from online instruction at this age group who are struggling emotionally and socially and who don't have those practices that they would have in a school in-person setting. Not to mention also their fine and gross motor skills are very limited, and they don't have access to that when they're using only online materials. For example, if they're writing on an iPad and they're using their finger instead of holding a pencil. I can't tell you how many of my students came back last year from online instruction who couldn't hold their pencil. They didn't have the finger strength to do it, but if they could point and write on the iPad, they were amazing at that. So I do believe that there are benefits for online teaching, but at a younger age group, I still don't see too many benefits with that. Another aha was that community needs to be built at the beginning of the year and continued throughout. Goes back to the SEL, having those positive interactions with your students, allowing positive interactions among your students, and creating those relationships among them and with yourself and them. I all think it is very important, and not necessarily just at the beginning of the year and forgetting about it, come November or December, but keeping it up throughout the year and reminding students of those positive relationships. Allow flexibility with asynchronous and synchronous teaching. As I mentioned before, I think it's important that there's a good balance between the two, allowing families the flexibility to complete content when it's important for them or when it works for them, but also allowing that synchronous teaching where you are having those interactions with your students, where you're promoting community and collaboration among students that are working face-to-face instead of just having them sit and watch a screen and not having that communication among peers. And I put at the end here so many online resources. My school district has a bunch of different resources that we provide for online instruction, but I was blown away by the amount that we looked at during this course. And I just listed 3 quick here that I plan on using, and I also shared with some of my coworkers at my school, and they're already loving it and getting things set up with that. So I was just amazed. I already have a bunch saved that I plan on using, and I just think that's awesome, and I plan to keep looking into more online resources that I can use, especially with the younger age groups. I know a lot of the online resources that were shared and looked at were for more of the older age groups, so I plan on doing my own research and finding more that are geared towards those 5 to 6 age range. Thanks for watching.